Hey crafty friends, do you love Magnolia's vases, but the price range is just a little out of budget? Yeah, me too. I'm Sarah and welcome to my channel Primrose Lane Prims. Come on in and let's DIY our own Magnolia style vases for a fraction of the price. We're going to start off by using a glass vase. Now this is a large glass vase. This one is about 12 inches tall. I found it at my local Goodwill, paid about $3.99 for it. But there are multiple options for glass vases. Here's another one. It's a middle-sized one. I also found this at a thrift store, paid $1 for it. But Dollar Tree also has a variety of glass vases. This is one of the $1.25 ones, and there's even some larger ones in the Dollar Tree Plus. So glass vases are pretty easy to come by, pretty inexpensive. You might just have some laying around your home. I'm going to use the large vase for this project because I want to try to mimic that larger Magnolia vase, the one that cost $80. So I'm going to start off giving my glass vase 2 coats of Waverly White chalk paint. I want to get this nice and good and covered because the Magnolia vases are ceramic, not glass. So I want this to end up looking to mimic ceramic. So we're going to give this a nice white base coat, 2 coats. You could also spray paint this if you wanted to, but I really like the texture and the look that the chalk paint gives this piece. This is what it kind of looks like once it's dried. That chalk paint gives it a nice texture. Not ceramic, but we're getting there. Next, I'm going to take these napkins. Now these are from Amazon. They come in a 25 pack. They are fairly inexpensive. I'll drop a link in the description box below, so if you're interested, you can grab some. I'm just going to open my napkin up, or we'll try to open my napkin up. I'm going to spread it out, and then I'm going to want to separate the 2 layers so that all we have left is that nice thin tissue paper layer on the top. And you've probably already guessed that yes, we are going to be decoupaging with these napkins. Now, I'm going to go through first and I'm going to start cutting out the pieces that I want to decoupage to my vase. And I'm going to start by cutting out all of the larger section of flowers. Because as you can see, there's little small individual flowers, medium size, and then there's the bigger bundles of flowers in this napkin in particular. So I just want to go through and I want to cut out a whole bunch of those, so that way when I start decoupaging I can just keep right on going and not have to stop and cut something out every 2 seconds. I'll already have a variety laid out in front of me that I can choose from. Once I get my large pieces cut out, I'm also going to go out and cut some individual and medium size bundles as well. Then I'm going to take my matte finish Mod Podge. Now you could use the gloss if you prefer the gloss, but since this is a more rustic farmhouse piece, I wanted to use the matte finish. You're going to apply that to your vase, your Mod Podge to your vase, and then you're going to gently but firmly press your napkin pieces into the Mod Podge to secure them down. And if any of you have decoupaged before, then I don't even have to tell you that this thin paper can rip real easy, so just be real gentle with it. Press it gently but firmly. And I'll even use my Mod Podge brush to brush the ends down to make sure they are down securely, and at the end I will go back and we'll seal the whole thing in the end, but we've got some more work to do first. So I'm going to go through and I want to take all my larger pieces and I want to place all of those first. I like to make sure that all my larger pieces are evenly spread around my base. Then after I have all of my larger pieces placed, I'll go through with the medium size or the individual flowers that I cut out, and I'll place them in, around, and in between to make sure my vase is nice and fully filled out. I think for this whole large vase, I only ended up using a couple napkins, so I still have quite a few napkins. I could even do a smaller medium-sized vase to match. And also, if you're new to decoupaging, then if you're finding some wrinkles in your napkins, you're having a hard time getting all the wrinkles out, that's totally normal. I think we've all been there, done that. And a few wrinkles is okay. I mean, it kind of adds to the rustic charm of the piece. And once we're done filling it out and distressing, you won't really notice them that much. But here's what mine looks like when it's done. Now you could stop right here if you wanted to, if you like the nice clean look. But since I want this to look like the rustic farmhouse vase from Magnolia, I'm going to take my Waverly Antique Wax and I'm going to distress it. And I'm going to start with the top rim, because if you look at that picture of the Magnolia vase, it has a little distressing around the top rim and the bottom rim in particular. So I'm just going to take and I'm going to dab some of my antique wax onto my sponge brush, and I'm just going to lightly go around and dab the wax on to give this that nice vintage ceramic look. Now once I get my top and my bottom distressed, I'm going to take my sponge brush and I'm going to start lightly going around the rest of the vase, because I want to distress the rest of the vase too. It's too crisp white. It doesn't quite match the top and the bottom rim. So I'm just going to take my sponge brush and I'm going to start lightly dabbing and smearing my antique wax and around, just to make the whole piece look vintage and like it's been sitting on an old farmhouse table for years, collecting fresh flowers out of the garden every few days in it. Now once I get all of my distressing done, I'm going to go back in with my Mod Podge and I'm going to give the entire piece a really good coat. This will seal in the napkins, the paint, everything. And I've done this technique multiple times. I've used it many times on glass pieces. And once this is sealed with the Mod Podge, I've never had problems with chipping paint. This also, as you go through, you'll might notice some of your antique wax just gently smears. That just helps blend it in and give it that more natural look. And I forgot to do my bottom, so I had to go back in, distress my bottom, and seal it as well. Now after this started to dry, I realized it just wasn't distressed enough to my liking. I wanted to go back in with my antique wax and I just wanted to add a little more to it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going back in here and I am just adding a little more of the antique wax and then going over it with my Mod Podge to seal it in. And here it is. Now the original Magnolia vase cost $80 for the large one. And this one here cost us under $10. I love how it turned out. Leave me a comment and let me know what you guys think, or if you think you might try this. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give this video a like, maybe
maybe share it with your friends. And if you haven't done so already, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss any future budget-friendly DIYs for around the home. And until next time, happy crafting, friends.